Yo, what is good, my anime faithful? What is good, yo? So, Index is getting pretty crazy in the sense of how, like, dark it's going. I did not expect this show to pretty much go beyond, showing they're showing us like fair fights and stuff. Like women are literally getting in bare knuckle fights with guys on this pretty much and getting clocked in the mouth. But at the same time, oh god. At the same time, we're seeing like women now in this episode straight up tied up, being beaten up in her underwear, and we don't see it, but her body's literally beaten and battered. So it's implied that that happened. Unless he threw dirt on her, and that's what you want to say. So there's that. But yeah, with that being one of the first things we see in the whole episode, not to mention the guy selling at a price for how much you want to pay to pretty much end the life, So it's like, holy crap, we're just getting into it. All right, let's go. And then next thing you know, one of the other parts in it that is, and mind you, both times one character is dealing with both of these situations. Um, the next situation he gets himself into and has to take care of is straight up people who think they're decent human beings when they said that show him some mercy and put a blindfold on a kid who they're gonna shoot point blank with a freaking gun. So there is no chill in Index ever again after this episode. Like, I understand they could do them as much like, oh, la 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 la, trolloping into the forest type of stories next, but it doesn't matter. My brain has been completely messed up. And I went from watching Date Alive to this show, so it was just like a woo roller coaster. You just start at the bottom and just shoot off like a rocket. I couldn't believe that was like both instances, just two things that Accelerator wanted like no credit for. Mind you, that's not even everything that he did in this week's episode. So it's this ridiculous thing where every time Accelerator now is on the screen, the author can just go nuts. He can do whatever the heck he wants all of a sudden. Like, Accelerator is meant to be that character that can go into the underworld of any part of probably the world, or in this case, um, Academy City, and just wreak havoc and pretty much get off scot-free because he's being monitored by quite a few people. So regardless of what he does during these missions that he's being told, he's also getting free range to do all of the things in these missions. So that's just how ridiculously crazy this show kind of starts to get when this character just shows up on screen and you don't really know what you're gonna get because of just him showing up. Um, Not to mention, the show still feels like, a crazy, not crazy, but it feels like a normal episode of this show because without even the main character around, you're still getting this feeling of there's so much going on in the world, and there's still so many powers that seemingly haven't even reached the peak of like how they're going to be used and stuff. It still feels like these characters can grow quite a bit. We got middle schoolers and high schoolers are like the government's best tactical weapons and stuff, so it's clear as day if they continue to go at this pace and continue to get stronger, we're probably going to be seeing some ridiculous kid, or like, not kids, but these kids growing up to be ridiculous. But not to mention the fact that we're probably going to see a lot of more characters either be introduced that are going to help these characters grow, or we're going to see, because from what I'm understanding is, if the person who's the right hand gets defeated within like 5 to 6 episodes, that would probably mean that the whole this whole season isn't based around this one arc. But from what I'm seeing, it feels like now that Accelerator is kind of here, it feels like his storyline now should line up with Toma's after it's all said and done. Like, Toma's gonna do whatever he's gonna do. Or no, Toma did whatever he's gonna do already. Now, Accelerator's gonna do all of this, and just like how he was finding out from the government all of a sudden, like, what's Dragon? Why is Dragon the one thing that terrorists are asking you guys about? They could ask for all types of money, ransoms, all this and that, and they're asking you about what is Dragon. Like, tell us that, and if you don't, we'll kill you. Like, kill people, you know? Like, that's how ridiculous the thing is, and for some reason Accelerator doesn't even know about it, so that's very puzzling to him. And that's also where this whole he does his own thing and might line back up with the main character type of deal that this show is so good at doing. Like, for instance, the Bug Zapper, she has her own show and she does her own things, but in this show and in this series, when she's in it, she still is always being mentioned because she's such a prominent character with power that can easily be upgraded or even taken further in the story of this story when it comes down to having a bigger role or something along those lines. My God, that did a lot of damage. But yeah, that's my hopeful thoughts on where this whole Accelerators arc is, like, or at least Accelerators part's gonna go. Because last time they kind of met up after we saw Accelerators part, but the next time that we saw him, he didn't. Like, one part did line up with Toma, and then another one didn't so much. Like, it was just him, he did his thing, and then it's just like, alright, bye. So I'm not sure if it's one of those cases or if it's the latter, so I hope you guys are here to enjoy it with me. I just beat hard for the first time. I don't even think that's, yeah, that was terrible, actually. Holy crap. But yeah, I truly want to know what Accelerator is going to have to do throughout all of this. I want to know why Toma and Index kind of got off so scot-free. That would be nice to know. Not to mention, there's a whole lot of characters that kind of remind me of God, I'm trying to think of who I just want to throw in. Screw it. I'm closing my eyes and I'm picking at random. There's a lot of characters that remind me of Accelerator, in the sense of they're just not, they just don't care at times. Like, as soon as they're in a situation to help people, they're just kind of like, whatever. Like, if I help you, do I get something out of this? You know, like, that's just like their personas. And all of those people, well, not all of them in this group that they created Block, Item, School, all of them got like grouped together and told to work. Just pretty much how they put what's his face together with the people. Just like how they put Toma with like the people in the last arc when they just defeated the Queen. Like, he was working with a whole bunch of people just out of nowhere because they were just being dropped down for assist. And that's pretty much where this is coming at. Like, don't kill each other, and if you do want to kill each other, make sure the terrorists are dead first. You know, like, they know exactly what type of problems lied between all of each other, and they still did this because they're the ones with the powers. They're the ones who can do things that maybe some of their government official things just can't do. So, very interesting episode and a start for Accelerator's next arc. The other thing that was really weird was the whole, like, sister thing. I could have sworn um, the guy with the blonde hair was an only child. Or I didn't even remember that his sister was that little girl that rides on the vacuum cleaner thing all the time. And not to mention that what's his face? Oh, that, I guess their whole group, like, so the blonde guy, the guy with the guy who like uses the spells or like the Grimoires or something like that. Pretty much the group that Accelerator is with, like all of them have like weird fetishes. Supposedly all the guys like lolis, and then all of the only girl likes like little boys, like shotas or something like that. So it's like, yeah, the dynamic between them is just hilarious to watch overall. But hearing that and sorry, excuse me, hearing that and just the way that it was going and the direction and I guess the stance that they were taking was hilarious. Just like, I don't want to be. He's like, if you're gonna call me a lolicon, then you should probably definitely remember that you're a Shotokan. You know, like it was just funny to me because I've heard like, or I've not even just heard, but I've seen these conversations where people are trying to justify, you know, that like lolis and all that stuff in their minds. Like, what people have to remember too in some of these shows is just because they're like they look like little girls and stuff like that, some of the stories are written in such ways that they're older than any human could ever become, like 4,000 and stuff like that. So I understand that aspect of it, but when they're literally supposed to be middle schoolers and stuff, that's when it's weird, in my opinion. That's just me. But in the country where this is from, I mean, we're talking about a whole different way that they see things being done in their own country, period. So you can't really use your own judgment on something that would get completely judged differently if you were on the other side of the coin. And that was sick, and we're ending it right there. All right, my anime people, I hope you guys have a good night, day, evening, whatever the case it is, and I will talk to you in the next one. So peace. What? Oh yeah, lows are the only things that stop it. Oh my god. I told you I should have stopped it there. No, we're getting this round in. We're getting this round in. Bunkai, don't you know I fight stars? Darkseid losing to a human in a sword fight. Hilarious. Oh my god, he won the rock, paper, scissors again. Yeah. Oh wow. Come on, do it. And then he walks around it. Grab, blah, blah. Peace.